Hello, good afternoon. I hope you guys had an amazing Christmas, New Year, how good it could be considering tears and stuff like that. And I'm talking to you today, as usual, in 2021 about our mystery cheese boxes. So you would have received this box here and it would have 5 amazing British artisan cheeses in it. It would have had a pack of biscuits, I ate more British cheese process, you can be proud. A cheese ambassador QR code, you scan that in for a friend and they get 5% off their next order. And obviously the tasting notes are in there, so if you don't want to hear me whittle on about cheese, then you can just ignore me and go straight to the tasting notes, or you can watch the video, comment, like, whatever, and enjoy this kind of experience. First up, we've got some new cheeses online, so go and check them out. We've got amazing baking cheese, which is called Winslade. The photo is on Instagram. You need to go there right now and look at it, because I think it's one of the best cheese photos I've ever taken. It looks exactly how it tastes, amazing. And also we did something slightly different this time. We did an art print actually. We teamed up with Boudica Illustrations, who actually happens to be my girlfriend, but we came up with this idea. This is a cheese iron kind of in the power fist, and it's just to represent kind of what we've done over last year. Lockdown has been tough. Life has been tough, and a lot of cheesemongers around the country banded together to support our British cheesemakers to ensure that they're still there after all this ends, which with the vaccine, hopefully it is in sight. But let me go through all your cheeses for you. So first up, we have Baron Bygod, one of our favourites. Comes in the box quite a lot because it just tastes good. So the idea behind these boxes is I go in these maturing rooms. This is where we keep all our cheese, and I kind of do a profile of cheeses which balance each other and work with each other quite well. I do my tastings every Monday and then we send them out on Wednesday, Thursday, but we're trying to speed that up now. We've got a bit more time with restaurants shut, so we do say 3 to 5 days delivery, but that's only to cover ourselves, but we are trying to speed that up all the time. So Baron Bygod, as we can see from the rind, white bloomy, indicates camembert brie style. This is actually a brie style, brie de Meaux style, made down in, side to us actually, in Bungay by Johnny and Dulcie Crickmore, Montbéliard cows, great quality milk. We can see the breakdown of this cheese is absolutely perfect. You know, we have that breakdown coming all the way through the cheese. Normally you get a little chalky middle, and what that will provide is hopefully more savoury flavour. So we've gone for that kind of profile with this one. Give it a sniff. We're getting those savoury, earthy, sorbet, forest floor, musty notes that are coming in there, which is, yeah, they're a little bit kind of salty as well that you can get. Not too overpowering, actually quite subtle for the age of the cheese, which is great. We move on to flavour. Divine. So, sorry, I enjoyed that a little bit too much. I need to talk about it. So, at front, very fresh actually. The saltiness is actually quite refreshing. It's kind of like a saline saltiness, which rolls into those aromas that we were smelling. The mushroomy, the cabbagey is there. That dissipates into a milky dairy coating on the mouth, finishing with some big cabbage, Brussels sprouts. Christmas is gone, but Brussels is still there, kind of flavour. Delicious. Great example, Baron Bygod, unpasteurised milk, animal rennet. One of the best brews I've tried in a while. But this is kind of from our Christmas batch, so the Baron Bygod was very good from our Christmas batches. Next cheese up, Mayfield, British Alpine style, Gouda style, made down in East Sussex by Allsop and Walker. You know, when they started making this cheese, we didn't have many sweet style cheeses in the UK, and these guys nail it, you know. So what you see from the appearance, yellow in colour, indicating it's cow's milk. The holes in there, not delivered by mice. They don't eat through the cheese. It's actually small little bacteria that's in the milk that's breathing out. As it breathes out, you get those perfect little circles that are in there, if you can see that. And that's actually where you get holes in cheese. Little breathing pockets that come out. So smell, sweet, nutty, creamy, little bit of sharp acidity that's in there, but nothing, you know, overpowering. Overwhelming nuttiness, sweet. Couldn't work out what nut that is at the moment. Flavour, love the texture, chewy, gets caught around those gums, allows you to masticate your mouth. Masticating allows an important thing to happen, allows oxygen to run over your tongue, up to your nose. 5 flavours on the tongue: sweet, salty, savoury, bitter and acidity. In the nose, thousands. So that oxygen coming in, running over the top of it, is going to let me define what nut that is. And that nut, I'm going to struggle now to say that, is more cashew actually. It's got that cashew sweetness right at the end, which is really nice. Then moving into those caramels, maple kind of bacony smokiness, but only subtly. Really, really Moorish. Give that to, if you've got kids running around, give them some of that. They'll absolutely love that. Next cheese up, Berkswell, made down in Reading, Riesling. One of our oldest cheeses that we have is a sheep's milk, this one, which is quite cool. It's got this colander type shape. I've let the cat out of the bag, mainly because it was made previously in colanders. It has this cool little rind to it, a bit more gnarly. This profile is slightly younger than we used to. That's why the rind is quite smooth and not as gnarly as it used to be. Normally there's kind of little microflora growing in there and things like that. So let's give this a sniff. Kind of neutral, fresh, a little bit of grassiness, subtle nutty coming in, but couldn't work out what it is. Actually quite low on the aroma, what's coming through. Yeah, flavour. Texture, wetter than usual. Normally this is a dry cheese, quite crumbly. This one's quite rigid. Which is pushing up this real citrusy acidity that's in there, which actually normally isn't present actually heavily in Berkswell. I kind of get that citrusy in a tone, but normally I get a huge amount of savouriness that's in Berkswell for some reason. Kind of lamby, sheepy, very weird. But this one is a perfect mid-range cheese because it's a palate cleanser at the moment. We're getting that citrusy that's in there, those high notes, a little bit of nutty sweetness, short, sharp experience. That lingering acidity is quite long. It's kind of like salt and vinegar crisps. It's really unusual. It's got that kind of that duality about it. Beautiful example of Berkswell. Next cheese we have up, one of my favourites, Spark and Hoe Red Leicester. It has not been on the board for a while, so it's returning, which is great, And we mature these here, so we bring them on a little bit longer. I love this cheese in France, which is called Mimilet. It's a circular ball, and it has these mites that eat into it. It's got a gnarly rind. And we don't have that in the UK, so I like to think that Spark and Hoe Red Leicester is our style of it. So here they are in their big form, so if you wanted to see, just in case you thought this wasn't real in the background, this is the size of one of them, you know, Spark and Red Leicester. It lived here, it got cut up, and now it's in front of you right now, which is quite cool when you think about it. So this colouring that we have, no, there is an orange colour milk, but there is a colouring that goes in, which is called annatto. That is a South American seed that they put into the milk that colours the milk and turns it orange. And this is like the only traditional red Leicester, I'd say, that's made in the UK. Anything else to me is cheddar with food colouring on it. So 2 smells to do here. Inside, light, dairy, bit of acidity there. There's a really unusual kind of almost like a bergamot kind of note in there, like an aniseed type thing, which is there. Sorry about that. An aniseed which is coming through. And then on the rind, what it smells like in this room. Musty, you know, wet, humidity. You know, cheese loves living in that environment, so that's why it smells like that. So you could be transported right now getting into that rind. So let's break it open. Let's give it a smell. That nice texture again, masticating, oxygen, beautiful baconiness, really nice that is. Nice, musty acidity running through it, which is more to the citrus end, rather than the vinegar kind of acidity, which is actually still there. A little bit of kind of white wine, aged white wine, barrel oakiness. It's in there, a bit woody, very natural, really Moorish. So this is a thing with Spark and Hoe, and this is why we love this profile, because it just creates this thing which is a trigeminal reaction. So when you eat it, think about how it hits you here, which is very strong. Right at your trigeminal nerve that links to your brain that says you're having a great experience. Please can I eat more? And that's why we love this profile. God, there's just some really cool bacony smokiness at the end of that. Really great example of Spark and O Red Leicester. You're in for a treat, this board. It's really great stuff. Next cheese up, Beauval. One of my favourite cheeses of this year. Cropwell Bishop, Nottinghamshire, knocking it out of the park. Last year, not this year, but every year, Cropwell Bishop has been doing such an amazing job of making their blues. I highly recommend them. They're doing a fantastic job. This is a British Gorgonzola style made down in Nottinghamshire. We've had the creaminess from the Baron Bigod, but running through all these, they've been quite challenging. They've been a bit abrasive, which is intentional, and that's a good thing. But let's just move to another sector now, which is blue. So let's have a smell. That digestive, malty, which you would expect from a blue that's in there. Mustiness is in there. Dairy notes, slightly grassy, really nice. Blues are my favourite. That Spark and Ho is still delivering now. Sorry, I can still taste it. It dissipates in my tongue. Really nice salty minerality. But let's forget about Spark and Ho. Let's think about Beauval. Texture, so light. Such a relief, actually. You've had similar kind of textures through the Spark and O, through the Berkswell, through the Mayfield. And then when you try the Beauval, remember, try in this order, okay? There's a reason why I put in this order. Your brain, it kind of like releases, like it's a bit like a change in texture, which is thoroughly enjoyable. And you're like, hey, that's light, the saltiness, the anchovy, the kind of raw vegetables of it, the roast dinnery kind of flavours coming through, the brothy beefiness that's in there, the slight zing of, it's not a zing really, it's a low acidity that's kind of in there that's bumbling in the background, the spiciness at the back that's exploring, moving into this beautiful savoury finishing note. I mean, God, good job this week. These are really good. These are really good, actually. I'm going to struggle. I think these are going to stay like this for a while, and I think they're just superb. I think, Beauval, phenomenal. So, they're your 5 cheeses. Please support British producers, not only of artisan cheese, of everything else. Lockdowns are tough. They're specifically tough for the hospitality industry. Shopping markets, supermarkets are getting the majority of your business because they're the only place to go for your day out. And what happens? Restaurants begin to close, and then we have a bigger problem after this is all over and we're all able to see each other again because we've got nowhere else to go because they've closed up for business. So please support local independent producers and restaurants because it's going to be worth it when it's over because we can get back to what we want to get back to, which is a normal life. So anyway, I've ranted, but 5 cheeses. Hope you enjoy them. Have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you next.